So I'm making this video because when you're going through a really painful breakup, one of the words that keeps coming into play is people will call and say, I need to set up a call with you, or they'll send me an email. I need to come up with a game plan. I need a strategy. So I even had somebody that I love recently come to me with a breakup and ask me for the same thing. So I'll walk them through what I'm about to cover in this video. And it worked. It helped them reclaim their sense of self. It helped them reattract. So I thought I'm going to put a lot of the principles that we talk about on this channel and in other channels into something that looks like exactly that. It's more of a step-by-step. Look, do this. Some people don't want that. Some people don't want a step-by-step when they're in the middle of agony. It seems like it's too much. A lot of people do. When they're feeling overwhelmed, they want to know exactly, what do I do right now? So I wanted to give you something that you could reference, something that you could look back on and just kind of give a sense of, all right, where am I? Where am I headed? Why am I here? Because when you're going through a painful breakup, everything feels overwhelmed. Your past feels like it's just been thrown into a blender. Your future seems dark. When you're going through dark limits, it feels hopeless. It feels depressing. You have a sense of dread. In the moment, it's just like a sense of panic that you're constantly trying to have to harness, to try to live through, to walk through, to go to work through. So it's good to have something that you can just kind of look back to, take a deep breath, and have a sense of stability for. So that's what this is. And it does two things. Is this a game plan to win them back? Or is this a game plan to get over them? Yes. Because despite what other people might tell you, the best path, the best plan, the best approach, the most effective thing you can do to reattract somebody is to absolutely prove that you can live without them. Not just to them, but to yourself. Now, usually yourself is the last person to believe it. You pretend, you fake, you act like you have strength before you actually have it. Being able to pretend that you have strength when you don't believe in yourself anymore is the strongest piece of evidence to yourself that you are stronger than you feel like. So don't feel like you're being a fake because you're pretending to be strong when inside you just want to be at home crying. But you have the character, you have the strength, you have the willpower, the determination to crawl off that couch, to get out of bed, to take that shower, to put your clothes on, and to start moving again. That's the part of you that you need to remember about yourself right now. And that's the version of you that has the highest chance of reminding the person who discarded you of the value of the person that they just walked away from. If you act as weak as you feel, you reinforce that you're the lower version of yourself that made that person discard you in the first place. So jumping right in, the first month is especially going to be hard. That's when your body, it's almost like your body's gone into panic mode. It's not even almost like, your body has gone into panic mode. There are different hormones, there are different just natural reactions your body's going to have, like a panic. It's like you're on a state of high alert. You're going to have adrenaline, you're going to have vasopressin, you're going to have serotonin, you're going to have dopamine. You're going to have a lot of things hitting you in that stage that I call dark limerence. It's like as high as you felt when you were falling in love, when you felt like this is heaven, this is the honeymoon stage, this is the reverse of that. Your body's going into a massive withdrawal. So you can't trust. This is the golden rule of stage one. Let yourself feel what you feel, but don't trust what you feel. Your body's flooding you with all kinds of chemicals. So it's like somebody has cast a spell over you. You're not as unwantable as you feel. They're not as irreplaceable as they seem. And it's not as hopeless as you're going to believe it is. Right now in your body, you're getting flooded with cortisol. Cortisol gives you a heightened sense of paranoia, a heightened sense of anxiety. And that's just one of the things that you're hitting. Everybody knows about adrenaline. Adrenaline is also hitting you. So you're getting that heart racing. It feels like your chest is on fire. It pumps so much blood that sometimes your face will feel hot. You just feel like you're in this overwhelming panic. The panic reinforces the belief that you can't live without that other person. It reinforces the belief that this is the love of your life. You naturally start to think things like, I wouldn't be hurting this much. I wouldn't be having this reaction if I didn't love them so much. I didn't even know how much I loved them until they broke up with me and threw me away. And now all of this light, all of this revelation is coming into my mind and my heart, and I see them for who they are, and I see them that I took them for granted. So you've been cast under a spell. So feel what you're going to feel. Don't try to fight it. It just magnifies it. What we resist persists. That's from Dr. Young. So don't try to fight it. What you try to fight, your mind fixates on. The more you fixate on it, the more important it seems, the more undeniable it seems to you. So let yourself feel what you're going to feel, but don't trust what you feel. You're also having norepinephrine that makes your heart rate go up. It's another thing that makes you shaky. Do you ever feel like they broke up with me? It's like I'm under drug withdrawal. Why am I shaking like I'm trying to diffuse some kind of a device? Why do I feel like I'm having trouble with these racing thoughts? That's another hormone that's flooding your body right now. Oxytocin is another thing. When you're in love, it's high. When you go through the heartbreak, it crashes. So that sense of joy, that sense of excitement, that's gone away. Now it's almost like you imagine your life without them, and it seems dark, and it seems hopeless, and it seems, what's the point? This depression boulder just starts rolling over you every morning. Again, let yourself feel what you feel, but don't trust that boulder. It's not real. Your mind will actually try to keep pulling you back to the pain. Your pain will feel like the last chain, the last connection, or the last hope you have to getting that person back. So as much agony as you're in, that agony feels like the last bridge to be able to reach the person that you love. Burn that bridge down. The truth is, that is not your last best hope to get them back. As a matter of fact, that's the thing that's draining your hope. Your pain, you're consistently reaching out because you can't afford to lose contact with this person. They'll get further and further away. It's like a boat. Your relationship is like a ship, and that's your last anchor, is your pain, you reaching out, you fighting for it. Cut that anchor. That anchor is literally pulling you down. It's making them see you as somebody that's unlosable. If you're unlosable, you can't be a prize. Nothing is of great value because it's so common. If getting you back is the most common, the most easy, the most simplistic thing in the world for them, it's really hard to value you. Valuing you is built in part on admiration, on respect, on feeling lucky to be with you. You can't miss something that you've never lost. So if it's on the porch, if you refuse to go away, you're right there all the time, you're making it impossible for them to have a sense of loss. If gold was as common as paper, then gold wouldn't be gold. So stop turning yourself from gold into paper. Let them look out the porch and expect to get a message from you and not get a message from you. Look at it like this. Right now, you're the living example of this principle. They just told you they don't want to be with you. Did it make you want them less, or did it make you want them more? They just told you they're certain they don't want to be with you in the future. So common sense should tell you to walk away, find somebody that does value you. But you're not doing that. You're hurt. Because they don't want you, they seem even more difficult to get. Now you seem lucky to get something that seems so far out of reach. So it's making them get framed as high value. Meanwhile, you're doing the opposite. I'm right here. I'll always be here. I'll never get over you. You'll always be special if you ever change your mind. In other words, they broke up with you and threw you out of the house, and you built your new house on their porch. Well, don't worry. Go date anybody else you want to date. Go do anything else you want to do. And if you ever change your mind, I'll be right here. It's really hard to value somebody who has made you the entire center of their universe. If they're the most important thing in the whole world to you, if they're the greatest value to your life, then they don't need you. But again, all the changes that you're going through, the physiological changes that you're experiencing, the hormones, the chemicals that's flooding your blood, it literally is like somebody brainwashed you. So you can't trust what you feel. You have to take an active role in deprogramming yourself. So to do that, don't be afraid of breaking the chain of constant contact. Don't be afraid of letting go of the pain. What you really want to do is build yourself into the most resilient, confident, independent, the strongest, most attractive, charismatic version of who you are. Remember how they saw you when they first started falling in love with you. You probably weren't falling all over them. You probably didn't act like you were desperate to have them no matter what and begging and pleading to spend time with them. Because if you did that in the beginning, you never would have got past the beginning. When the two of you were falling in love, you each saw each other as somebody amazing. You each felt lucky to be with the other person. So remember how they saw you when they fell in love with you. And at first, you have to act like that's who you really are. You won't feel like that's who you are anymore, but that really is the closer version to the true version of you. This version of you that's flooded in pain, this is not the real you. It just feels like it is because that emotion is so overwhelming. You feel weak. You feel unwanted. You feel like somebody that could be easily walked away from because you were just walked away from. So remember the most attractive version of you that you were in the beginning and start working to act like that person until you feel like that person and until you remember you're that person again. One of the things to do in that first 30 days, every day, remind yourself of the drawbacks. I don't have to tell you to remind yourself of the good things. So this isn't even you being unbalanced or biased against them. It's you trying to balance out what your heart and what your mind and what your own memories are doing to you. Your memories will tell you that they were incredible, that it was magical, that you'll never feel that way again. And I'm sure the moments were incredible. But there were also moments in there that made you think, I don't know if I want to be with this person the rest of my life. I don't know if I can be happy with that thing, that flaw, that habit, that attitude, that tone, that disrespect. There was something about them because nobody's perfect. Reality never actually measures up to the fantasy. So remind yourself of the negative reality because you're battling a fantasy-based version of who they are. Every day, make a list of the things about them that hurt you, the negatives to them. That doesn't mean you're attacking them. That doesn't mean you're spitting on them. It means you're valuing yourself enough to be able to see the flaws in the other person. Because right now you're going to be flooded with all the reality of your flaws. I don't even have to ask you to come up with a list of the things you got wrong. Your pain will create an instinct in you to start cataloging everything you did wrong. There was this moment, there was that moment. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did this. So you're already cataloging all the negative about yourself. But what you're doing is kind of giving them sainthood. They were amazing. All of their flaws were understandable. All your flaws were unforgivable. That's not reality. So without excuse, write down a list of the drawbacks that they did and then review it every day. Remind yourself every day. And you need to have thought stoppers in place. In other words, it's natural for your mind to say, I don't think I'm ever going to get over them. When you have that thought, which is natural, it's an unconscious thought. It's an instinctive thought. You don't just willfully decide to think, I'll never be able to get over them. But you can consciously choose to think at the end of that, yes, I will. I don't care how it feels. I know it feels like I won't get over them, but they'll either come back or I will get over them. Because the truth is, I have enough value in who I am that if they don't see the value in being with me, I don't need them. I don't care how I feel. What if I never get over them? I will get over them. What if the pain never totally goes away? The pain will go away. And even if it doesn't, I value who I am. I value the purpose. I value the meaning I have in my own life too much to lay my ultimate worth at the feet of another flawed human being. I don't care how much I hurt. I refuse to give my life up because another flawed mortal decided that I'm not good enough for them to honor with their presence in my life. Have those thought cappers. Have that end thought. Don't ever let a thought like, I'll never get over them, they're too good for me, I'll never be happy again. Don't ever let that be the last thought in your mind. It's normal to have the thought, but you don't have to hold it. It's like there's a phrase that says any bird can fly through the barn. That just means any thought can come into your head. And right now you're in so much pain, those thoughts are going to come into your head. But don't build a nest for it. Don't honor it by choosing to believe it. Even if emotionally you believe it, you can consciously, viciously disagree with it. So you have to do that for yourself. In that first 30 days, start by staying away from things that remind you of them. Stop taking walks down memory lane. There's an instinct to think, well, since we're not together, I miss being with them. What's the closest thing to being with them? I know. I'll look at pictures. I'll look at emails. I'll look at text. That'll give me hope. I mean, it was just 2 days ago they were telling me how much they love me. It was just last week they were talking about being with me forever. So I need to get my confidence back by remembering how close we were not long ago. Every time you're doing that, it's like you have this mortal wound. Somebody just slashed you across the chest. And it's like every time you do that, you're tearing that wound open again. That is not bringing them closer to you. That's putting you deeper into the pit. That's building another house on the porch. And again, the more you act like you can't live without them, the more they believe that they can't lose you. You need to give them the same fear of loss. You need to trigger the instinct in them that says, what if I made a mistake walking away from the person that at one time I thought was the love of my life? What if they become a better version of themselves? What if they become a more improved version of them? What if I regret walking away from them? Just like you're afraid that you'll never replace them, you can trigger a fear in them that maybe they made a mistake walking away from you. But to do that, you have to reclaim some of your own sanity. So don't feed into the pain by walking down memory lane. Burn down memory lane. Take things that remind you of them, pack them up, put them out of the way. If you have to drive around a place that reminds you of them, drive around the place that reminds you of them. Don't watch the same shows that make you think about them. Consciously avoid and take detours around things that reinforce that pain. It's like you're a patient right now and you're your own doctor. You have to take care of yourself. Month 2, keep everything from month 1, but find some kind of a focus. Right now, you're feeling emotionally, you're still going to be feeling rejected. You're still going to be feeling devastated. You're still going to be feeling like the best version of your life just set sail. And now you're wondering who's going to end up with your life, who's going to end up with the person that you were meant to be with. So those are very natural things. Keep in mind, make it like one of your commandments. Accept how I feel, but don't believe what I feel. Accept the feelings, reject the conclusion. Find something else. Find the things about you. Remember I said make a list of the things about them that are negative. Make a list about the things about you that are exceptional. Remind yourself of the things that attracted them to you in the first place. Look, I'm a Christian. I make no apology for that. But even if you're not a Christian, if you believe in Mother Nature and things just spontaneously came into being, there's something about who you are that's not an accident. There really isn't anything called chaos in the universe. Everything is connected to everything else. Everything is in relationship to everything else. You're not here by accident. You're not here by accident. You have to believe that there's a meaning and a purpose to your life greater than the flawed human thoughts of another unstable, inconsistent, immature, self-serving, self-centered human being. Like, we're all pretty flawed. We're all too flawed to get our ultimate sense of worth from the opinion of each other. So find that thing about you that makes you feel, that makes you know you're exceptional. I don't care how boring you think you are. There's something about you that excels above the average person. There's something about you that makes you lucky to be you. And if you don't believe it, you're believing a lie. And at the bottom of every agonizing sense of hopelessness, there's always a lie. Maybe that's the lie that you're believing, that there's nothing about you that's special. There's nothing about you that gives you meaning other than them blessing you with their presence in your life. That's not true. If that's what you really believe, then whether you know it or not, you weren't just in love with that person, you were worshiping that person. And worship is not attractive. Worship instinctively tells the other person they're so far out of our league, they don't belong with us. You want to love somebody. You don't want to build your life around them like they're the sun to your universe. So if you really believe that, that's probably at the core of why they walked away. You want to win them back? Find something about you, find the truth about you that really is anointed, that really is special, that really is a gift. I promise you, there's something in there that you just haven't bothered to find. Maybe you gave up on yourself. Stop giving up on yourself. You need to believe in you to be attractive enough to have somebody else believe in you. Because people ultimately will trust you about your worth. If you place all of your worth at their feet, then they don't see much worth in you. So you have to stop doing that. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you're here for a purpose. And at this stage, find one or two people at most that you trust. One of the things people do when they're in overwhelming pain is tell everybody. Well, the more you talk, the more you focus, the more you vent, the more you give into the fixation to talk about that person, the more you're subconsciously telling your own brain and your own heart that they're the center of your universe, that they're the most important thing. They're the thing that dominates your brain power, your conscious awake time. Even when you go to sleep, you've thought about them so much during the awake time that while you're asleep, you're probably going to be dreaming about them. Then you wake up and remember that you had a dream and you were either back together and now you're tormented, or even in the dream, they were breaking up with you and you were tormented. So one of the things you want to do is limit who you talk to somebody that you have faith in. Prayer works. Finding somebody that you trust the opinion of. When we're in pain, we'll talk to anybody. It's one of the things I used to do all the time. I'm ADHD, so when I was in agony or fixated on something, all of a sudden I would just start talking to anybody about it because that's how I process. I listen to myself talk. But I would talk to morons and idiots that gave me all kinds of negative feedback and all kinds of bad advice, and I'm listening to it because when you're in panic, you'll trust anything. There are extremely intelligent, highly successful people that I've talked to that said, yeah, I was talking to an energy coach. I was talking to a witch. I was talking to a manifestation expert. I was talking to a voodoo person. Whatever it is. When you're in pain, you'll try anything. So limit who you talk to somebody that you really trust, somebody that really knows you. Make it God. If you want to set up a call with me, you can. I'm not trying to tell me that you need to, but just find somebody that gives you a sense of faith, a sense of trust. And then limit how you talk to them. Don't make them the end-all, be-all. They're not the ultimate authority of your destiny, but talk to people that you have faith in and then limit it from there on out. And again, let yourself feel what you're going to feel. You're going to have thoughts. When you have them, don't try to push it out. Start to admire yourself for having the kind of deep heart and deep emotion that still feels things for somebody that hurts you. Stop condemning yourself for still having connection and still having love. That's not a sign of weakness. It feels like weakness because it hurts so much. We associate pain and woundedness with weakness, but you're hurting so much because you have a depth of love, you have a heart, you have the kind of sincerity that you want a person to have. You would want your child to be sincere. You would want your friends to be authentic. Well, a lot of times you're hurting because you're more authentic, you're more sincere, and you're more deeply connected than the person that threw you away. So stop beating yourself up and have admiration for your pain instead of judgment. But find that project, find that gift about you and focus on that. Maybe you're a good writer, start writing. Maybe you're a great painter, start painting. Maybe you love working out, get fixated on it. Like throw yourself into that thing that gives you a return sense of value. Like, this is what I built. This is what I've accomplished. Not only did I build it, not only did I accomplish it, I did it in the middle of agony. I did it while I was carrying the weight of hurt. You start to feel a sense of admiration for yourself again, instead of that paralyzing sense of judgment. Now you're no longer reinforcing that sense that you're unwantable. You're reminding and proving to yourself that even in the middle of pain, you have value. And maybe they don't see it, but maybe them not seeing it is evidence of how they're flawed. Now your hurt is a reminder of your own value. And if they can't see that value, that reinforces the idea that maybe they're not perfect. You do those things for 60 days. All of a sudden at that 60-day mark, you're going to start feeling like you actually are the person that you've been acting like. Lean into that. It might even feel like you're getting conceited, which feels awkward to people who aren't conceited. But what you're really learning is the value and the gift of being you. Now you're starting to act like the person that they were probably most attracted to in the beginning. Except now it's not so much an act as it was at the beginning of all this. You're starting to carry yourself with that sense of strength. Now the thoughts of them, you're used to not tormenting you. You don't want to be afraid of your own thoughts. The first 30 to 60 days, you're almost living in a sense of paranoia. I feel like I'm doing good, but every time you feel like you're building momentum and that you're acting stronger and feeling stronger than you thought you would, just the awareness that you're acting stronger than you predicted you would can pull you back down into that pit. But after the first 60 days, you've learned that just the thought of them never coming back, as scary as it might still be on some level, it's no longer overwhelming. You still have a hurt, but that hurt is no longer unbearable. It's just barely bearable, but you actually admire yourself for having the strength to carry it for the last 60 days. That next 30 days, you're actually building a sense of admiration for yourself for what you know you've lived through. And when you're going through a miserable, terrible, agonizing heartbreak, that sense of you're the only person that really knows how much pain you were in. I remember, I've worked in relationship coaching for over 20 years, but I remember when I was going through it, I remember having this thought, I don't know that anybody has ever hurt as much as I'm hurting right now. I feel like I could physically die because I'm in so much emotional pain that I didn't even know the human body could feel this level of agony over an emotional thing. I thought I'd have to get hit by a car. I thought I'd have to be captured during war and tortured to feel the level of pain that I'm feeling right now. But now at this part of the process, after that 60 days, it's you have this deep admiration for yourself. But I got through it. I thought it was going to kill me. It didn't kill me. I didn't think I was going to be able to get off the couch, but I not only got off the couch, I proved who I am. I reminded myself who I am. And to hurt that deeply and still be able to overcome it, I have to be a strong person. One of my favorite lines, a mentor of mine said, stop thinking that you're weak for feeling the incredible intensity that you feel, for feeling overwhelmed, for feeling that heartbreak to that level. Do you have any idea how much of a gifted heart you have to be able to hurt that deeply? Like when you look around and see people after a breakup just going, oh, well, yeah, I was married to them for 10 years. Yeah, we had 3 kids, but I met this hot chick at the bar. Do you really think of that person as strong? Do you really admire that person as having character? Or do you think, what a shallow, narcissistic douchebag? So stop beating yourself up because you don't so easily and so quickly get over a relationship that you claimed was the love of your life. You actually hurt like it was the love of your life. But now you're feeling admiration for yourself. Whatever that project is that you started working on 30 days ago, you've gotten enough of it done that now it's not just a mental realization. You've got something in front of you. Like for me, I wrote a screenplay. I'd never written a screenplay before. I had a 243-page screenplay, and it was funny, and it was witty, and it was insightful, and other people read it, and somebody ended up buying it. So it was like I had undeniable evidence that it turns out I'm not as worthless as I thought I was. I'm not as worthless as I think they saw me to be. And around this third stage, this last 30 days, what you're really learning to do is break the habit of seeing yourself through the eyes of somebody that rejected you. Like when we fall in love, we kind of see ourselves through the eyes of the person that loves us. One of my favorite versions of me is the version of me that I think my wife sees me as. When she looks at me, I like imagining what she feels when she sees me. But when somebody breaks up with you, this is the person that's supposed to know you the best and love you the most. And that person, who we value the opinion of so much because they're our person, has decided that we're not even worthy enough to stay with. So we see ourselves through those eyes. We see ourselves as unworthy. We see ourselves as discardable. We can even feel unwantable because we're still seeing ourselves through the eyes of the person that we love. At this point, you've broken that chain. You're seeing yourself as the person that you know that you are. And you know that's who you are because you're the only one that knows how much pain you've had to live through, how much pain you've had to harness, how much obstacle you've had to overcome to remind yourself who you are. And now that you know who you are, you have a much better chance of reminding them. During this 90 days, if they broke up with you to be with somebody else, they've also had enough time to get to know the flaws, to get to see the drawbacks of being with that other person. Their ego stopped getting the rush, stopped getting the boost of your constant pursuit of them because you stopped reaching out. Now when they think of you, they don't think of you on the porch anymore. You haven't slid a note under the door or come knocking or peeking through the window. You've proved to them that you're strong enough to live without them. Now a fear of loss. Now a sense of, what if I made a mistake walking away from them? When I broke up with them, I knew they wanted the relationship, so they were still getting a sense of value, still getting an ego boost from knowing that you would still choose them, but they didn't choose you. Now it's been 30 to 90 days. They haven't heard from you. What if you woke up? Now they're seeing themselves through your eyes a little bit. What if they realized I'm not worthy of pursuing anymore? What if they started thinking they can do better? What if everything in my life hasn't gone as well as I thought it was going to go after I broke up with them? And now what if I'm confused about the person that I thought was always going to be available to me? That's what they're thinking. And if you follow this plan and do it for the 90 days that we're talking about, you have 90 days of undeniable evidence that, number one, maybe you do still love them, but you know you're strong enough to live without them, which means you have a much greater chance of reattracting them. And maybe in this process, you've realized who you are enough and seen them for who they really are, that maybe you don't even want them back anymore. But that's the point you want to be. You want to be at a point that even if you love them, if you take them back, it's out of choice. It's not out of a desperate need. It's not out of a fear that you'll never get over them and the pain will never stop. It's actually out of a more confident, more attractive, more long-term manageable sense of, I know who I am. I knew I am without them. I know I want them. I miss them. I love them, but I don't need them anymore. When you need somebody to live, you're turning off your draining attraction. When you love somebody, you want somebody, and you miss somebody, good. When you need somebody to be able to breathe and to know your own meaning and to know your own identity, that's bad. Even if you have the best of intentions, it's just not something that we're wired to admire in somebody else. And now you're also at a stage that if you want to reach out, you can reach out and it won't be drenched in desperation and neediness. At this point, maybe you want to reach out. There's a way to word it. There's a vibe, there's a certain attitude, how you carry yourself, that even if you reach out, you're not giving them this massive ego boost and lowering your own value in desperation. And it comes out, it comes through. It's just something that we pick up in other people. It's kind of the unspoken attitude that we have, that we carry ourselves with. So I hope this game plan is going to be of use to you. Please let me know. Details really do matter. If you want to talk about your situation, if you want to tweak the game plan to fit your certain circumstances and details, you can find me at realcoachken.com, and I'll be back again soon. But until then, just hang tight, be strong. Remember, no matter how you feel, you are strong. And I'll be back again soon. Thanks.